Hi. So in last week's vlog, I discussed the opening prologue about the seeds in the earth and the marigolds. So I kind of want to address that again, but this time I'm looking at the last paragraph of the book. And what I want to mention about the passage as a whole again is that everything else is written like in the past and leading up to what's going on. And then this last paragraph is written in present tense to just show like how the events like led up to everything that have happened, and like this is just like obviously the closing ending paragraph. So I just wanted to point that out. In this passage, I'll read it. It says, "And now when I see her searching the garbage for what? The thing we assassinated? I talk about how I did not plant the seeds too deeply, how it was the fault of the earth, the land of our town. I even think now the land of the entire country was hostile to marigolds that year. The soil is bad for certain kinds of flowers. Certain seeds it will not nurture, certain fruit it will not bear. And when the land kills of its own volition, we we acquiesce and say the victim had no right to live. We are wrong, of course, but it didn't matter. It's too late. At least on the edge of my town, among the garbage and the sunflowers of my town, it's much, much too late." So I'm first going to address the second sentence, saying when Claudia or the narrator says, "I talk about how I did not plant the seeds too deeply, how it was the fault of the earth, the land of our town." And before, in the prologue of this book, when she was like younger and more naive, she talks about how she didn't know if it was her fault or like what's going on, and why Picola's treated this way. But now she realized through all the events that have happened and like with age and experience as she's gotten older, that it wasn't her fault for planting the seeds too deeply, that they didn't grow or sprout because of the earth itself, which I think symbolizes obviously the society that Piccola is living in, and the town, it even says the land of our town. So they were the ones that pushed her seed too deeply into the earth to the point where there was no way she was going to be able to sprout and like grow with the town or like grow on her own, because society and the town pushed her down to the point where she couldn't come back from that. And then next one it says, the soil is bad for certain kinds of flowers. Certain seeds it will not nurture, certain fruit it will not bear, and when the land kills of its own volition, we acquiesce and say the victim had no right to live. So it's saying that the soil is bad for certain kinds of flowers, and it's saying that for different types of flowers, like let's say the stereotypical of this time, like blue-eyed, blonde, white little girl, like the soil's great. Like the marigolds will come right up, the seeds will come right out of the earth, but the soil's bad for certain kinds of flowers, meaning that Piccola, the one that the town chose to take out all their burdens on and all of their problems onto her because of her race and skin color, and obviously like her upbringing as well played a role in it, because they knew that no one was going to defend her, even her own parents. So the soil was bad for Piccola's flower. And then it says the certain seeds it will not nurture, certain fruit it will not bear, which I think it has some relation to what happened with Piccola's child, and how society like didn't accept that at all and was saying it was her fault even though she's 12 years old, and how that was never, everyone knew that the child just wasn't going to be born, and they did nothing about it. They did nothing to help her, and they just let it go. And then it says, Morrison says, when the land kills of its own volition, we acquiesce and say the victim had no right to live. So this is basically saying to me that when something happens, like in this case, when Piccola went mad, we just like don't protest it, like don't really think anything of it. You just simply accept it and just say like, oh, like they had no right to, as sad as it is, she had no right to live in our town and like grow up with our children, and it's just like it's ridiculous. But I think that's the mindset a lot of people had about the situation in the Bluest Eye. And then the ending line here is basically just saying, we were wrong, of course, but it doesn't matter. At least on the edge of my town, among the garbage and the sunflowers of my town, it's much, much too late. And here it's just saying that obviously all the people know they were wrong. I think subconsciously as a human being, you have to know that you were wrong to do this to someone, but it's saying the damage is done. Like you've already like subconsciously, whatever happened, you destroyed. a little girl's life, and it's too late. Like among the garbage and all the sunflowers, like it's too late to go back. You can't go back from it, and you just there's no going back from that.